Hello, Black Women Amplified. It is your girl, Monica Wisdom. Today it is you and me, and we're going to have a conversation about love, a self love story. But before we get into that, if this is your first time listening, thank you for joining the podcast. Make sure that you follow wherever you are so that you don't miss an episode. We typically release every Thursday. I don't know what time it drops in whatever part of the world that you're in. But we are here to enlighten, to share love, to share ideas, to share our challenges and our triumphs so that we can be better people. And with all that is going on in the world, we all need a dose of positivity. Every conversation doesn't have to be about the dredges of the world and that lower element that has seemingly taken over everything. I've been reading Revelations a lot, and I'm like, woo, it's all written. I sound like one of those people. It's all written in the Bible, but mm, I read I think it was Revelations 12, and I was like, oh my God. But anyway, it has been, it hasn't been 3 months. And it's just like every day feels like a year. But I am determined that this era that our nation is in is not going to age me and take me off my game. So today we're going to talk about love, a self-love story. All the things that are happening, all of the things that are going on, sometimes God drops, and oftentimes God drops a dose of positivity in our lap, and we just eat it up like candy. And for me, it's a new show by a dynamic woman who's an actress and a philanthropist. She happens to be married to a prince. And her name is Meghan Markle. Or, as we have all been corrected, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. I mean, this California girl who grew up with hopes and dreams, grew up to marry a man who is a part of one of the largest monarchies in the world. And she has birthed royalty. But I will say, I believe that she was born royalty. I think she's a very dynamic woman. And her show is called With Love Meghan, and it's a lifestyle show. It's a show where it reminds you of Martha Stewart, Julia Child, a lot of the cooking shows on the Cooking Network. But it's really about her. And the reason I call this a love story, because it's truly a self-love story. If you know the story of Meghan and Harry and their marriage and their courtship and their engagement and all of the things surrounding what it took them to get to this point of being happy, this is why I call it a self-love story. Because we have the romantic story of Meghan and Harry, meeting, and on their third date they were in Botswana. And then they were flying back and forth to see one another, or she was flying to England. Then they get engaged and all the things. And it's a beautiful love story to follow. And last night I stayed up, just for context for this show, watching their docuseries on Netflix. And it's so sad. It is literally one of the saddest love stories I've ever seen. Because you see Meghan go through losing herself and being in love, and being in love in a way that she couldn't really enjoy it because of the monarchy. Because of the things that she had walked into, she lost her own autonomy. Here you are, this beautiful actress in Canada, and you're from California, so you're this happy-go-lucky girl that likes to have dinner with her friends, read books, do philanthropy work, travel the world, and you're an actress on a hit TV show, and in your 7th season, you fall in love with a boy named Harry. And it just seems so romantic and loving, and then she walks behind the gates of the monarchy, and everything changed for her. And the deeper they got into the relationship, the smaller she became. And if you watch the docuseries, you'll see what I'm talking about. I did not know. And here's the thing. Why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because I want you to watch the show because I need somebody to talk to about it. And secondly, we're all going through a place where we're trying to discover ourselves. People are, especially since this election, people have disconnected from those urges to save the world and are focusing on themselves in a whole new way that I haven't seen. And I'm grown Gen X girl, and my work has always been about women empowering themselves and falling in love with their reflection in the mirror. That is the basis of everything. I mean, the show is called Black Women Amplified. Amplified means visibility, not being a hidden figure, being out there, showing yourself love, showing your true self, your authentic self to the world. And when I see somebody like Meghan Markle, which I watched her television show Suits, I'm a fan of the show, and it's a successful franchise. It had two or three spinoffs, and it was definitely a hole when she left the show. But she left the show because she fell in love, and it was time for her to move to England because, of course, he's a prince. He can't move to America, so we thought. But him moving to America brought a whole different set of challenges. So she falls in love, meets a man that she feels is perfect for her. And she discovered him as she was on a dating fast. She had broken up with someone and she said, I'm not going to date anybody. I'm just going to enjoy my life, travel, hang out with my friends. She lived in Canada, so she didn't have to deal with the Hollywood stuff because Canada is different than America. So she was able to just meet people and enjoy her job and live her life up there. And she was there for 7 or 8 years. And then again, she fell in love with a man named Harry. Oh my God, their third date. They say they were set up by a friend, but I kind of feel like it was this is just me. I feel like it was a matchmaking service. Because I don't know how a friend just set you up with a prince. Like, how does that work when you're both not vetted? It might have been a blind date, but I don't think it was like her girlfriend Kate set them up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there was something else going on. So they meet, they have 2 dates in a weekend, and then their third date, it's Botswana. He takes her to Africa. Harry has a special affection for Africa because his mother did a lot of work there. So him growing up and trying to find himself, he started walking in his mother's footsteps, and he wanted to continue her work with HIV and AIDS in Africa specifically. So he got hooked up, he met people there, and he just became one of the villagers in one of the countries there. I can't pronounce the name of it, so I won't try, but it starts with an L. And I just remember the country because it was they talked about it in Black Panther. You know, I love Black Panther. So they go, he finds himself in the middle of Africa, away from his world and the monarchy. He goes for 2 and 3 months at a time, and he actually has his African name. They made him a part of the village. He's one of the brothers of the village, one of the princes of the village. And so in order for him to date her, or her to date him, it was important that she also fell in love with Africa. So he took her to Botswana on their third date to the bush to be out in the middle of nature. And because there were no distractions, he knew what was happening. She had no clue about the press. Because tabloids in America are completely different than the tabloids in London. And he knew because he saw what his mother went through and how she died, being chased by the paparazzi. So they started dating, they fell in love, and their relationship became over FaceTime. And any way that she can get away from her job, she would be in London with him. And they hid the relationship for a long time until they finally came out and said they were boyfriend and girlfriend, then eventually engaged. And from there, they got married. And just like when Princess Diana got married, I woke up early in the morning, I think 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, set my alarm and woke up to watch the wedding of Meghan and Harry. And when I tell you, I was completely thrilled and fell in love with what I saw. It was black. It was blackety black, black, black. Prince Charles at the time, but now King Charles, walked her down the aisle because her and her father fell out over this wedding, and over her sister who did some nefarious things to her and about her. And so she lost a part of her family. Her father helped raise her. So she knew her father. She wasn't, their parents split up, but they were co-parents. And so she asked King Charles, now King Charles, to walk her down the aisle. He did. And I just thought that that was such a beautiful moment. And it just dispelled some myths. But when I saw the audience, and I can't say I'm a royal lover, but I love that whole monarchy thing. Like Downton Abbey, the Gilded Age. Like I like watching all the things. I love the castles and the horse and carriages and the gold everywhere. I love all of that. France, Spain, England. I don't know. It's just cool to me. It's just really cool. But to see Meghan, this biracial black girl from California, become an actual princess, that is nothing. That was, like the kids say, that was not on my bingo card to ever see that in my life. And I know that in the past there have been black princesses, and we talk about kings and queens of Africa, but we never talk about a prince and a princess. Specifically, we'll talk about a prince, Prince Hakeem from Coming to America, but we never actually talk about a princess. So she was a princess bride, and the princess brides that we see don't look like us. And it's so interesting because we talk about seeing a black girl. I just want to have a caveat about this. I'll get into the show in a second, but it's interesting when she was becoming a princess. I'll talk about this later.
Let's take a quick break.
Hello, everyone. Monica Wisdom here. I am the host and the producer of the Black Women Amplified podcast. But what you might not know is that I'm also a consultant for women entrepreneurs. I help women entrepreneurs develop their ideas, their brand, and their overall business strategy. Are you developing a groundbreaking idea or have a wealth of knowledge that could impact the world but unsure where to go next? Business is good, but you're ready for it to be great. With countless ideas racing through your mind, it's challenging to figure out what's next. I understand. You have excelled with top companies, but entrepreneurship feels like a new language. The truth is, you can do this. You've achieved great success for others, and now it's time to achieve it for yourself. At Monica Wisdom Consulting, we focus on your vision and crafting a clear, concise, strategic plan. Your dreams are within reach. You simply need a powerful roadmap to get you there. Are you ready to take the next step? Book a call and let's discuss your vision and future. You can reach me at www.monicawisdomhq.com.
It'll make some more sense later. So anyway, watch the docuseries and you'll see what I'm talking about. All the things that she had to go through to be with this man. And her life was no longer her own. She became the royal family is essentially an employee to the monarchy. So your job is to go out and spread the good news of the monarchy, to be the spokespeople, to be the mascots, essentially, for the monarchy. And Meghan lost her autonomy. You're talking about a free spirit California girl that do whatever she wants whenever she wants. She has money, she has position, she has a successful show. So her acting career is doing really, really well, and she leaves everything to be with him. And she gets there and she has no support. Her whole role is to support the monarchy. And it was a shock to her. She gets pregnant. Then they learn about some things that are going on between, they each have their own offices. So each office has their own agenda. So they combined the offices and thought, well, maybe Prince, this could be the awesome foursome to go around and tell the world the monarchy is fantastic. But the Queen gave Harry and Meghan a shack to live in. It was a shack. I was shocked. It was a shack next to the palace. The palace that has 1,000 rooms in it. And they were in this little, like, it looked like a, I don't know, it looked like a shed, like a she shed, but not glamorous at all. Like, they had to fix it up. It's a mess. And even Meghan said when her mother came, she said, oh my God, people wouldn't believe how you're living here. Because this is a prince, an $88 billion monarchy, and you put him in a shack with his new wife and his new baby. Anyway, so I don't know why that was. And the other thing that Meghan talked about is that because she's fair-skinned, she was never treated like a black woman. So she didn't understand what racism was. And her mother said her biggest mistake was not sharing it with her. Meghan just assumed it was because she was American that she was being treated so bad. But the words and the vitriol was clearly steeped in racism. So that's important for me talking about her new show. That this woman went from living her best life to becoming an employee of the monarchy, finding her way as a new mom, finding her way as a new wife, and being viciously attacked in the media. And it was obvious it was because she was black, she was American, and she was an actress. But mainly because she was black. The things that the disgusting things. And I live in America. And if it's, and I guess the difference is that the tabloids in England are a part of the press. In America, it's just considered trash and gossip. But they take it very seriously over there. And so if you watch the docuseries, you'll see all of that. So anyway, so to see her come out this last month with her own television show called With Love, Meghan, and to see her so happy and joyous and launching her new business in such a beautiful way, brought me a lot of joy. And so we've all the black girls have galvanized on to Threads. So it's like old Twitter where you would watch a TV show and everybody's talking about it via Threads. And so Threads is Facebook's version of Twitter, essentially. And so it's nothing but, there's no ads, it's nothing but text. So there's no pictures, no videos. Some people put videos on there, but nobody cares. So we're going back and forth, and this is where the 92%, as we call ourselves, the 92% of black women who voted for Kamala Harris, we needed a place to go because we didn't feel safe on Twitter, can't really connect on TikTok, so we ended up on Threads. And it's been beautiful because it's just black woman positivity. So this show comes on, and of course it spreads like wildfire, and we're all watching the show. We're like, and it's so girly and frilly and feminine and soft and pretty, and it's simple, and she's making these simple recipes, and she invites her friends over to or people that she loves, different chefs, and she has a girlfriend who has a skincare line, and um, her couple of her actress friends, and all of these people. As I rewatched the docuseries, they were all in the docuseries. So she has her makeup artist, who's now one of her best friends, and they're making candles, and they're picking flowers and vegetables out of the garden, and it's just lovely. But of course, I always feel like somebody's watching me. White women are pissed. Literally, she's not relatable. She's copying Martha Stewart. It, it's pretentious. It's this. It's that. It's the other. And here's what I realized: we don't let people into our bubbles, right? They People literally only see one side of us. That one side of us is typically whatever black person they put on the screen, whether it be a rapper, an actress, or whatever. So between Power and BET, that's how they see us. But what they don't see is that we are all the hostess with the mostest. We love to entertain. We love to nurture people. We like fine china. We like beautiful table settings. Like nobody sees our softer side. So they say it's not relatable because they can't believe that a black woman would be this into cooking for her friends or a table setting. Like that's what we do. Whether we get it from a thrift store or Bergdorf's, we're going to have a nice table setting. We're going to get us a tablecloth, and we're going to get the little rings to put the napkins in, and we're going to have the tables, the table setting of life. Have you ever been to a brunch at a girlfriend's house? And there's fresh flowers on the table, and you're concocting some type of drink that you got a recipe off of, or it's a tradition in your family, some type of lemonade or tea, sweet tea, a parfait for dessert, or a lemon cake. Like she's doing all the black girl things, but they can't believe it's a black girl. And when I didn't understand it. People were like, why are they coming at her? And I didn't understand it. And I went on. Netflix has a blog, so whatever's happening inside of the show, you can go on the blog, and you can read like if a television show ends, they'll give you all the spoilers and all the behind the scenes. Well, they did a blog post for Meghan with the recipes and some of the other things, and so I went on there and I read I went in the comment section, and most comment sections on social media is jokes and funny. These were some of the meanest things I have ever heard in my life. They literally called her everything but the N-word. And I'm sure some of it were bots, but whoever came after her, it was vicious. So the more they came after her, the more the 92% went and watched the show and started posting their version of her recipes, the lemon cake and the pasta that she made, and the flower arrangements. They, videotaping themselves going to Trader Joe's or wherever to buy fresh flowers and creating their arrangements and pulling out their fine china to have dinner. And the children were cooking the recipes. They're so simple, kids can cook them. And so they showed the little girls having tea parties. The cutest thing ever. So I'm saying all of this to say, the reason I call this a self-love story, because if you see the arc of the story from Harry and Meghan, the docuseries, to With Love Meghan, you get to see a woman who was so devastated that she did not want to be on this earth anymore, to creating a space that is filled with nothing but love and joy. Because you have to remember, they didn't just leave England, they escaped, right? They decided to pull back from working for the monarchy because Meghan was just in a place, she was at her lowest. She broke. She broke. And to see her work her back to herself, and this is what she's creating, a place where she can be with her true friends and people that love her. And here's the thing, they went to Canada. The Queen Mother was like, okay, you're no longer a part of the monarchy. They pulled security away from them. And they literally had to escape to America through the Underground Railroad. And I'm not kidding. If you watch the docuseries, you will see that they were in Canada. The family, the monarchy, decided that, okay, you don't want to be here, then you don't get any of the benefits of being a part of the business of the monarchy. No security, no money, no home, no nothing. Now, this is an organization that is worth $88 billion, and they have colonized much of the world. They're not as big as they used to be, but there are places across the world that the Queen is still on the money. And she says you get nothing. And overnight, so there's no protection, which means paparazzi has popped up, and their paparazzi is vicious. They make a lot of money off of the royal family. And they called Oprah and asked Oprah, they needed some help. Oprah called Tyler. Tyler has a plane. Tyler's plane went and picked them up, and he flew them to California to his home. And he said, stay here as long as you need. Because, of course, he has many homes. That's what rich billionaires have. They have many, many homes. And he said, stay here as long as you need. And the only thing they had that was of value to America was their story. So I don't know how it happened, but they ended up getting a contract with Netflix for $100 million. So essentially, they were able to create money due to this contract because they had nothing. And it's really sad when you think about, it's just really sad when your family doesn't support you, to make sure that you're safe, and then strip the titles from the kids. And so when you strip the title from the kids get nothing. And luckily, and that's why she wasn't called the Duchess of Sussex, they stripped their titles. And Meghan and Harry were like, it's not about us so much as we want to make sure that our kids are safe. These are royal children. They are the great-grandchildren of Queen Elizabeth. All types of shenanigans can happen on the global stage, right? But they were offered no protection. So I called the Underground Railroad because it was Oprah and Tyler Perry that got them out of Canada into a safe space and took care of them until they were able to take care of themselves. And it was beautiful. And the thing is Harry grew up in the monarchy. He didn't know anything about American life. And so they had to create their own family, their own space, their own way of living. And it was different from him because his whole life was about the Queen. He still bowed. The monarchy, you would still bow to your grandmother, even though it's your grandmother, right? You still bow to your father now that he's king. He's the king. He's your dad, but you still bow because he's the king. And so Meghan was thrust into this world. Like I said, she lost herself. She lost her autonomy. And her life became about the monarchy, but she was determined to make it work until she couldn't. And when Harry saw how distraught she was, he said, I'm not going to let her go through what my mother went through. So they left. They went to Canada. And then the monarchy was like, you know what? You don't want to be here. You're no longer a part of this. They escaped on the Underground Railroad. They ended up in California. And that was 9 years ago. Maybe 7 years ago. And so now she comes out with this show. And she has her own business. Because not only does she have a show with Netflix, and they partnered with her on the show, she has a business with Netflix called As Ever. So they're her business partners. So just like a lot of these women, like Gwyneth Paltrow has Goop, and a lot of these other people have these lifestyle blogs, she's going back to her original. I think she had a blog called The Tig back in 2013, 2014. So she's going back to her roots. I doubt she'll ever, I don't know if she'll ever act again, but she's happy. So she went on a journey of taking her story back and reclaiming her power, which is something I feel that we're all doing right now, because the one thing about this election, when when we were having all of these calls and everybody was being supportive of each other, and white men for Kamala, white women for Kamala, Asian people for Kamala, da 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 da. Election happened and the numbers came out and everybody was like, oh my God, you fooled us again. We believed that you were with us because you said you were. And then you weren't. Because when the numbers came out, numbers don't lie. And black women telepathically, we did not have a meeting. We're like, we're done. Energetically, we untethered from the obligation to save America. And when that happened, we all went into this shock, dismay, but this great revelation. And since then, we've all been trying to figure it out. And then this television show was an example of this soft life that we all want, that we've wanted our whole lives, where we felt nurtured and seen and taken care of, and surrounded by beautiful things, not just for the sake of I have an expensive purse or I have an expensive car or I have a high-powered job, but just for pure joy. And that's what this show showed, was just pure joy. I want to cook for you because I want to nurture you. I mean, the way that Meghan did the things, and I tell everybody, I said, she's just like my best friend. And it's so weird because people are like, she's so unrelatable. I'm like, really? She's just like my cousins. She's just like my friends. She's just like my godmothers, who Thanksgiving dinner pull out all the fancy plates and ladles and spoons and silverware and all the things and fresh flowers and decorations and just making sure that everybody's having a wonderful time. That's how we grew up. We didn't all grow up with the fanciest stuff, but we grew up with making it nice. It wasn't always great, but the times that it was great, it was beautiful. But we all had that aunt or that cousin or that grandmother who told you to get the good china, pull the good china out. Go and get the good bedspread. Get dressed up when you come over. Look nice. And the place always smelled good. And so when you see the show, I hope that you watch it. If you haven't watched it, give it a gander. It's on Netflix. It's called With Love, Meghan. And after you watch it, go and watch the docuseries, because it will make you appreciate what we're going through right now, and that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And so that's why I call this With Love, Meghan a self-love story, because she found herself. And I'm so happy for her. I'm happy for her family. I'm happy for the family that she's born into and the beautiful friends that are still with her. And the ray of hope that I got from watching this. I told everybody it felt like my nervous system just kind of mellowed out, because I've been on 9. Trying to get down to a 5, but watching that show was like a feather going across your cheek, just soft and lovely. So we're all on our journey of self-love. We're all awakening to our self-love story, whatever that is for us. And I invite you to watch the show. And you can also leave a message. If you go to the show notes, you can leave a text message and let me know what you thought of the show, and I can see it. Or you can always DM at Black Women Amplified on the Instagram page. And let me know what you thought about it and what it brought up for you. And if you leave a nice message, I might even read it on the air. But I think that we are all in the midst of our own renaissance. And I don't mean the Beyonce concert. I mean our own renaissance of rediscovering parts of ourselves that we forgot that were there because we're always in this hustle and grind. And discovering parts of ourselves that we didn't know was there, like the girly frilly type. Like I pulled out my, normally I drink out of a mason jar. I was like, oh, here are my good glasses. Let me drink out of this. So just try and find a way to find a bit of joy in every day. And might not be every moment of the day, but if it gets to be too heavy, turn on Netflix. Not on those shows that talk about, but just watch an episode of Meghan at the beehive making honey. Just simple, light, airy, and beautiful. So anyway, thank you for listening to my Meghan talk. I hope that you have been inspired to watch the show, and I hope that you have been inspired that if you're in a place where you're feeling like it's too heavy, life is too much, know that there is a light at the end of this tunnel, and it's just a moment in time. We are multi-dimensional beings that have many possibilities, and we can tap into all of them. I've been on my own Renaissance journey for the last couple of years, and I tell you what, it has been a hard, soft, interesting, complicated ride. But I can honestly say that I'm more at peace than I have been in my entire life. Not every second of every day, but the moments of peace that I do have, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all of it, but I know that God is walking with me and that everything is working for my greater good. And one of those great things is to have you with me every week listening to this show and supporting it. Great news! I woke up this morning with an email that says we are number 8. Oh, I wish I could open up the email, but I'm recording. But we are number 8 for performing arts podcasts of all time. Of all the millions of podcasts around the world, we are number 8 of all time. And we were on about 4 other lists. And we're also number 1 for podcasts specifically for Black women. We are number 1 on that list. And we have been on that list for number 1 for a while. I didn't see it, but we've been there for a while. We were on it last year. We were off of it, but we're back to number 1. So thank you, thank you, thank you. This podcast has been a labor of love, a labor of love. If you want to make a contribution to keep the show going and going and going, you can do that on the website. Or you can do it on the show notes where we have a button where you can make a contribution. You can become a show sponsor and make a small contribution every month, $3 or $4 or $5 or $7, whatever is comfortable for you. And that helps to pay for the editing and all the things that it goes to put this show together. So just like PBS, it costs money to keep this show going. But anyway, this has been a delight to talk about the self-love story, and I can't wait to hear your self-love story. So please leave a text or leave a DM, and let's talk about it. Let's build community off of the show. And make sure that you go to blackwomenamplified.com. You can buy a logo t-shirt or a hat. I even have some sexy summer tees that you can get into that reflect our inner soul. And also get on our email list. And we have a whole different conversation on a newsletter, and we have a whole different conversation on the blog. So we have many ways for you to get tapped in and tune in, and I'm grateful that you're here. Have an amazing day, and make sure that you share this podcast with a friend. Just text it and say, hey, have you watched With Love, Meghan? Monica's talking about it. Have an amazing day. Take care. Bye-bye.